It's a 1970 Dodge Challenger. It's not numbers matching. We'll cover the things that it isn't, okay? It's not numbers matching. It was born red. Originally it was a red car. It had air conditioning and automatic. Now it's been restored to what you see here, the silver, black interior, 4-speed, period correct 440, so it's not like it's an engine from some UFO universe. It's an engine closely matched to this car. But the big deal here is it's a Mr. Norm's dealer demo. Okay, Mr. Norm's dealership was the place to go buy high performance Mopars back in the 1960s and 70s. And this is the car that came from that dealership, and it was ordered as a dealer demo by Al Smith. Now Smith ordered all the high performance cars for Mr. Norm's. I have all the original paperwork that puts this car at Mr. Norm's, shows that it's a dealer demo, all the tags are on the car, all the numbers on the body and the VIN tag all match, they're all correct. A lot of what you see on the car is still original to it, but the engine, the transmission's not. The rear end probably is, there's probably other components. I have restoration pictures where you can see the car before when it was first found to where it is now. And I got a stack of paperwork, which I can show you. It's about that thick, including a whole bunch of original paperwork from Mr. Norm's. And they're not photocopies. These are all the original documents. So to the Mopar collector, this is a high profile car. And if you want to talk to me about the value, without that paperwork, it's probably a $50,000 car. With that paperwork, it's a $60,000 car. Easy enough to do. If this car were restored and it were red, and it had an automatic, and it had air conditioning, and it got to be as correct as you could make it, the car would probably be worth about $85,000. So that's the story on this car. This is the paperwork that has to do with the restoration. So these are all the pieces and parts that were bought with it over the years. So this is all the stuff for all the stuff that was bought for the car. This is just historical records. It's really not that relevant. I got it right from Chrysler. This here's some the Mr. Norm's Sports Club. So some of the stickers you see on the car, I got them right from Mr. Norm's dealership. I didn't go and get reproductions. These are from his shop. This is the pictures of the car before. It was a calendar car. I don't know what calendar, but it was on a calendar at some point in its life. This was one of the calendar photo for it. But this is the car before. You can see it being restored here as they go through it, the sheet metal work. This is where he converted it over to a 4-speed. You can see the original color of the car here, red. You can still see some of the red here. So little pieces of red. So you know the car was red. It was called FE5, that was the color name. It's on the trim tag. So you can see as the guy, I didn't do this, the previous owner did it. He got it to, get the body back, started putting it back together, started coming together, and you can see there where it started the engine in it. And this was restored about 2001. Okay, so the restoration is almost 20 years old. That's when he finished it. This was the engine that was put in the car, same engine that's in it now. I don't know what's on here because I don't have a disc drive anymore. So I have no idea what that is. And he told me it was a calendar car, and he said this was the calendar picture. So, I don't know what calendar it was on though. So there's that. And this is an extra set of keys to it. And this is really cool right here. That's the original punch tag from the dealership for the key. So back then, if you lost your key, you go to the dealership and give them this little tag, and they give you a new set of keys. But that's pretty cool. Usually these are gone. This is why it's worth more money right here. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just the world we live in with these cars. Okay, so this is the original dealer jacket. And again, this is from Mr. Norm's. This is from this dealership right here. So this was the original dealer jacket. This is what they kept on their records. And this is the first buyer was right here, Thomas Presley. So this is the person who bought it first. But inside, you have the original dealer shipping notice. Now, this is really important. Al Smith's demo. Okay, Al Smith ordered all the high performance cars for Mr. Norm. So he was a big wig there. This is the car he ordered for himself. Right there is the code for Y13 for dealer demo. These were all the options that were marked for the car. This is the Chrysler order sheet. This is what the dealer sent to Chrysler to order it. Now, at Chrysler, somebody wrote that on here. And you know why they wrote that? Is because this dealership was probably the premier Dodge Chrysler dealer in the United States. So when Al Smith ordered this car, somebody wrote that on here because they didn't want this car to get screwed up, because that dealership was that important to them. So here's some of the paperwork that came from the purchase. This was obviously a little cheat sheet for the dealer where he had the options on it. So it shows all the different, it shows that person who bought it on January 30th, 71. You know, shows what options were on it, and somebody wrote some other stuff on the back. And here's the original sales sheet going to this person when he bought it. It says demo. And so this is original paperwork, not copies. And this is the same thing. This is the pricing worksheet for when the person bought it, signed, you know, by the person who bought it. I can't read those signatures. I tried to find this man, couldn't find him. I tried. So, and I also tried to find Al Smith, and I couldn't find him. I did find somebody associated with Dodge cars whose name was Al Smith, but I don't think it was him. But I did try to find Al Smith. He could have died too. But because I wanted to tell him I had his car. So, but I never found him. But this paperwork, very valuable. I mean, you don't find paperwork on a 50-year-old car like this very often. And then when you do find it, and the paperwork goes to something that's pretty historical with Mopars, it's a pretty cool thing. So, and where's the performance receipt? And I'll probably put it back in there, but this paperwork is Mr. Norm's, the dealership. He kept all his paperwork. That's how he found the paperwork, because he keeps it all. So if you've got a car that has a VIN number that he knew he sold from his dealership, he'll send you the paperwork to your car. So I got this right from him, right from this guy here. So, like I said, that's a big deal, and that's what adds a lot of value to the car. And you know, you can talk to other Mopar collectors and experts, and they're going to tell you the same thing. It's not hyperbole. It's real stuff. When I found out the car was a Mr. Norm's dealer demo, I was pretty giddy. I mean, it was, I'm not saying like hitting the jackpot, but it certainly made it a really good buy for me. Like I said, I've owned the car for 14 years, so it's not like I bought this yesterday. I've had this a long time. So this is a big deal. These are the fender tags. That's a huge deal, because usually these tags are gone. See that the car had so many options on it. This code right here, CTD, that means continued to a second tag. So in the Mopar world, this is called a two-tag Dodge, because it has so many options they wouldn't fit on one tag, so I had to put it on the next tag. And there's the Y13, and this has to do with the radiator, I think, and then some other body numbers. There's the VIN number of the car that matches over here. So big deal to have the trim tags to it.